Welcome to another Just Tap session, a new Sunday series that I'm starting on the podcast where we are going to get out of our minds and drop into our bodies through the power of EFT tapping to release any blocks, any fears that are preventing us from truly showing up in our life the way that we want to. This week, we're going to tap on receiving clarity and confidence in sharing our story. Sharing your story is one of the most powerful things you can do as a coach, a guide, a healer, or a creative leader. But honestly, also just as a human wanting to have a positive impact or influence on someone else's life. But sharing your story isn't that easy. Being really vulnerable with what we have experienced and sharing our knowledge isn't easy. And I know this firsthand by sharing on a podcast and also speaking in front of live stages. But also, let's be honest, sometimes when we're just in a group of people where we're just meeting people from the first time, we may not be super confident in sharing our story truly and authentically and being vulnerable. Sometimes we can end up being faced with blocks and fears that prevent us from really being able to show up in our truth. And again, these blocks, these limiting beliefs that we have, these fears that are preventing us, they are all rooted in our little life. Sometimes when we can think about sharing our story, our mind can go back to maybe we were ridiculed before for sharing our story, or maybe we were told that we weren't important. So all of these blocks could end up coming up when we want to share our raw, authentic, truthful selves and share our story to benefit others. That's ultimately what we want to do when we're sharing our story. And it will. Our story is so important. If you don't believe me, check out this week's episode that I dropped on Wednesday, episode 147, Turning Pain into Purpose, when I share just how important stories were in my recovery and how important your story could be for someone else who is currently going through something that you have gone through and been able to overcome. Sharing our story is really how we are going to help uplift others. So inside my Facebook group this week, I asked members what is the biggest block that prevents them from sharing their story. And the most voted block was not knowing how to confidently or clearly express it. So this is what we're going to tap on today to be able to welcome in the clarity and the confidence. I want to remind you before we dive into the session that we are going to be using our hands to tap on different meridian points throughout our face and our body. So ideally you are hands-free right now so you can join in on this sequence. If you aren't though, this episode could still benefit you because I'm going to be sharing some powerful affirmations that are good to be able to feel a shift within you. And so feel free to stick around if you're driving or walking or busy right now and you can't use your hands. And if you do enjoy the affirmations, then star this episode so that you can come back to it at a later time and go through the sequence with me. All right, let's get into it. I invite you now to take a deep belly breath in and feel your belly expand. And on your exhale, bring your awareness to your heart center and tune into the fear or the difficulty that you experience in sharing your story. And if you had to rate that fear or difficulty on a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being that there's no difficulty at all, you share freely and express your story with grace and ease and flow, and 10 being it is so difficult to share your story that you almost feel like you can't speak. You almost feel like you're tripping on your words so much that you feel paralyzed. And once you have that number, we're going to start tapping on the side of our hand with our affirmation statements. You can repeat after me out loud or in your head. Even though I struggle to share my truth with confidence, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I don't always know how to express my story clearly, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I question the value of my voice, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Moving to the top of the head. It feels hard to put my story into words. Eyebrow point. I'm not sure how to share it clearly or confidently. Side of the eye. Sometimes I second guess what I want to say. Under the eye. Sometimes I get caught up in comparison. Under the nose. My story feels small and not important enough. In the chin. What if it doesn't come out the way that I want it to? Collarbone. I've been holding myself back because I feel unsure. Under the arm. It's been easier to stay silent than share my story. In the wrist. But I know there's something powerful inside of me. And back to the top of the head for our last round. My story is becoming clearer to me every day. Eyebrow point. I trust that my voice will guide me. Side of the eye. I am learning to express myself with ease. Under the eye. My story is enough because it's mine. Under the nose, I trust that my story will flow naturally. The chin, I don't have to have the perfect words to be impactful. Collarbone, I am choosing to be confident in the way that I show up. Under the arm, I am building confidence each time I speak. And the wrist. I am safe to be seen and heard. And when you're ready, release, take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, bring your awareness back to your heart center and just tune in to the scale that you'd set at the beginning of this tapping meditation. Where does the fear or the difficulty in sharing your story fall now? Hopefully it falls closer to zero, closer to the point where it's almost non-existent, where you can go and share your story freely, knowing that you're making the impact that you want to make, that your story has so much value and it is so valuable to others that you're sharing it with. If you aren't quite there yet in your belief, then you can redo this tapping meditation. There really is no maximum to which we can do this. Do the tapping until you feel like you do have that confidence to be able to turn around and share your story with those that need to hear it most. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this resonated with you. If it did and you know of someone else who can benefit from this tapping, then please share it with them so that we can all experience the benefits and transformation that EFT tapping has to offer. And if you would like to provide your feedback for next week's tapping session, then I invite you to join my private Facebook community. I put out the polls on Tuesdays so that we can vote for our Sunday tapping session. The link is in the show notes of this episode, so be sure to check it out. And I will see you next Sunday for another tapping. Until then, have the most fantastic and empowered week.